a day. We've been talking about playing at another level. We've been talking about being dominant. And you know even why we've been dominant in the last few weeks? What's the word? What's the word? That you got to hit somebody in this game. That's why we've been dominant. Now, when we go out there today, there's going to be a bigger audience that's ever seen football in this entire country in history. It's the biggest crowd ever. Now we got a chance to do what we talked about. We talked about playing this game at a level that nobody in any league, anywhere, has ever played this game. What's the word? What's the word? What's the word?
Michael Pinball Clemons.
Wow. Strombo, so good to see you,
Good to see you, my friend.
Oh, that dude's crazy.
That dude's crazy. That dude is not the dude people think you are sometimes, but that's the football dude.
That is the dude, though. I'm passionate, love it. And hey, guys, how you doing? That was so kind.
You know what's amazing? I love watching that NHL show 24/7, but I can't. Every coach, and I'm okay with it, but every coach in that yells at their players too. But they're so crude. I was really fascinated by in that clip with you and watching that speech. You're not. You are hard. And my favorite line, you focused on the word family a lot, I love. But I love how you said, in this game, you got to hit somebody.
Yes.
But you kept it clean.
Well, yeah, and we always try to treat our players with that level of respect, and we want to present ourselves in such a way that if they copy us, right, people will say, well done, yeah, good job. And so I didn't use profanity as a coach, and you know, as we went around 8 years, I swore twice.
Really?
And I knew exactly what I was doing each time, and my kids are going to get on me now because I don't think ever heard me swear.
Really?
So it's just not something. I think that when you swear, it illustrates a poor vocabulary.
Well, unless you're doing it for a bit.
Well, yes. So that's right. That's right.
That's my excuse.
Yes. now, when I say that, when you know, the ranting and just the series of swear words, I mean, people use it for emphasis, and the two times I use it, that's what I used it for. I used it for emphasis.
It's interesting to see when I was watching that tape back, and I remember being once in Ottawa when you guys won, and I saw the Argos win. I remember that moment, and I was thinking how that was almost not, in that I remember the time when you were not going to be an Argo, like near the end of your playing career.
Yes.
And I was just fascinated by how different your life would have been if you had left the city.
You know, I never had any intentions of leaving the city itself. I love this city. I say I'm American by birth, but Canadian by choice. I love it here. There's no question about that. So I never had any intentions to leave the city. But yes, you know, when you get to the end of your career, a lot of things are going on. But the biggest thing is I never intended on being a coach. People ask me, say, what do you do after you play? I says, or will you coach? I said, well, I never say never. I'm the ultimate optimist, but I'll never coach. No. And I had seen it work out too bad for too many guys, right? You know, you become great coaches, but you don't know your family. And for me, family's number one. And ultimately, that's why I stopped. I stopped when, in 2007, we finished in first place that year, but my oldest daughter was going to high school, and I believe that parenting is the most noble profession on the face of the earth. So it was a saying, every successful man is not a successful father, but every successful father is a successful man, and that resonated with me.
Tell me about the women in your life. Tell me about do you have one grandmother, great-grandmother who was blind, or a great-great-grandmother?
You are too good. Yes, my great-great-grandmother outlived both my grandmother and great-grandmother. And it is. And unfortunately, my mom's mom died when she was 5 of complications from tuberculosis and I'm sorry, of pneumonia. Then 2 years later, her grandmother died of complications from tuberculosis. And so my great-grandmother, my great-great-grandmother was thrust into this role, and she went blind around the time that I was born. And so at 18 years old, not only did my mom have to care for me as a single parent, she also had to take care of the person who had raised her. But she didn't make excuses, and she wouldn't want anybody that's watching to feel sorry for me, as she say this. She understood your circumstances are responsible for who you are, but you're responsible for who you become. And as a part of that, she wouldn't, you know, if you were feeling sorry for me, she would be a little bit upset about that.
But here's the thing. Did you get lucky? I mean, obviously you were lucky with the mom you had, but did you get lucky in finding this place that you're at? Because a lot of people, understandably, struggle in that scenario. It's tough to, you know, to grow up positive in that and to find your way through it. Did you have a moment of clarity? Did you struggle as a young man? Did you battle as a young man?
No, I really didn't. And again, it had more to do with my mom than it is me. I think she has more to do with me sitting here with you today than me myself. But I used to tell our guys, we all must suffer one or two pains in life, either the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And so as we go there, we need to understand that not our situation, but the set of decisions that we make will determine our course in history. Now, it doesn't mean that it'll be as easy as everybody else's, but some of those things are the things that make you better, that make you stronger. Like, I may have been a good football player in another family, but have never made it because I was told, I had things, and I was told that, oh, you don't have to play football because, you know, you can do good in school and that kind of thing.
Well, you were almost done football, right? And then you were a youth director at a church. Is that what you were?
You do your homework. Come on now, come on.
Right.
Now listen,
yeah.
I want to say, right, you know, if we can right now, I bromance. I love your mind.
Thank you, my friend.
I do, man. I am in love with your mind.
You don't like my body? Is that what
Yeah,
you're saying?
well.
Let me tell you, like, not to overdo the moment, but to be honest with you, I didn't grow up watching the CFL, but I do remember working at Much Music, and on the occasion of your last football game, I hadn't been to a CFL game since I was about 11 years old, and I was in my late 20s at this point. At my friend Alex, who works in this show, we were at Much Music. We said, Pinball's retiring today. We walked down the street, the Skydome. We went to the Speculators. We bought tickets to just go watch your last game, and there was a lot of, because you meant something to the city. And you're, in fact, the true successful immigrant story, in a way, right? You came to this country, and you've made something that, in a way that you've shown us what Toronto can actually be, what Canada can actually be. And that must be a real shock to you that this is what happened. Because when you first came here, like, what was that? Because you were out of football in your mind.
Yes.
And here you are. What was that like?
Yeah, so, you know, when I came here, I had played a year in the NFL, and so I got the call, and I interned at a company called Honeywell during my university years, so after my freshman, sophomore, and junior years, and they were waiting for me. And then after I made the team in the NFL, I didn't expect that. I didn't go to the school I went to, William & Mary, more of an academic school.
I have bet on them.
Yes. So, have you?
I have gambled on them. I lost.
Yes. Well, Lou Holtz said, he'd have gave you a little clue. Yeah. Now, Lou Holtz, the famous coach, said when I was there, they had too many Marys and not enough Williams.
Oh,
yeah, so sorry, ladies. So he would have gave you a little clue on your betting. But as part of that, when I went to school for an education. There was no idea of playing pro football, anything after that. I was going to enjoy football in university, but then going on to have a job. And so after I got a chance to play a year in the NFL, I said, well, this is good. I'm going to go in, I'm going to take this job. And so at the time, the president of the Argos was Ralph Sazio, and he said, would you like to come play football for us? And I was on the phone with him. It was about 11 o'clock in the morning, and I said, I'm not sure, sir. You know, I've been offered a job. You know, it's time, I think, for me to move on. He says, I don't think you understand. Can you make a 3 o'clock flight? And so I said, let me call my mom. So I still call mom on all of my decisions. Mom said it's okay. So I came up, and I expected to be here for a couple of years, and, you know, the rest is history.
All right, stick around. Anthropology with Michael Clemons. We're also going to find out what other Canadian city he thinks should get a CFL team. A lot to talk about with pinball right after this.
Will be kicking off to the Toronto Argonauts, and we'll get our first look at the newest addition to the Argo roster, number 31, the man they call Pinball, Mike Clemons. They say he's 5'6", and standing beside him down on the sidelines, I would think he'd have to be on tippy toes to hit 5'6".
Dr. Michael Clemons. That's your first play.
Yes. First play, and the interesting thing is Winston Churchill sort of had wonderful, great quotes, right? But he always kept balance. He says, success is not final, and failure is not fatal. So, you know, even when you're having success, hey, listen, you need to get better. But when you fail, it's okay, too.
He's saying this because he fumbled the first.
Fumbled. The very first time I touched the ball, I returned the ball, had a nice little return, but fumbled. All the guys were great. They came and picked me up and told me it was going to be okay, and
That's fantastic.
It's 20 years later, it was okay.
March 1st, tell me what the 1,000 Paper Cranes are saying. That's amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. We're so excited about it. We, each year, our large fundraiser as our foundation, and maybe I should preface by saying what we do as our foundation. Education and character are two big things, and so we believe that education and character are the cornerstone of a happy, civil, healthy society. And Dr. King suggested that the concepts of love and power have been contrasted as polar opposites in our society. To have love, we must resign ourselves of power and vice versa. He said, but love without power is sentimental and anemic. He said, power without love is reckless and abusive. Mm-hmm. He said, power at its best is love. The two are synonymous. And so we kind of equate power to education, because education determines the quality of your life, health, wealth, freedom, and family. And then we equate that love, right, to character. And so that's what our foundation is built on. And so we are building schools in developing countries. We have a computer program giving computers in homes that don't have computers. Amongst other things, and on March 1st is our annual gala. That's our big fundraiser.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
and you also feed the children, a great organization, right? It's amazing that you're working that.
Right.
So we know the CFL where it's at in terms of which cities have which teams. What other city would you like to see have a team in the Canadian Football League?
Oh my goodness, Ottawa immediately, because there's so much history in Ottawa.
They keep getting one and getting rid of it.
Well, you know, they really have a quality group that's in place, and this group is local. You know, they've had a few challenges recently, but this is a great local group. The last group that was in did a pretty good job, but ran out of steam a little bit. But this is a great local group that has the ability to do what they need to do. And then the East Coast, and now that's a little bit of challenge, whether it's Halifax or New Brunswick. You know, where we go Halifax or Moncton. You know, I think it's the Easterners should decide that. We shouldn't decide that for them. Right. So I believe they should decide that. But I think if you have that, then you got 10-team league. You got 5 real Eastern teams and 5 real Western teams.
That would be nice.
Yeah, it is perfect.
What's your favorite football movie?
My favorite football movie is
The Waterboy counts.
Yeah. Actually, Brian's Song. Oh. Yeah, Brian's Song is my you know, there's a lot of good ones, but Brian's Song, it was, you know, the Brian Piccolo, and it was I guess the age when I saw it. You know, I'm a little guy and I'm so immersed into it, and this was a real story about real life and football being not the main story, but part of a story in real life. And so that's my all-time favorite. So
good. Check it out. So Diane and Michael Clemons, right? March 1st in Toronto. It's the 1,000 Paper Cranes Gala in support of the Michael Pinball Clemons Foundation. So great to see you, Michael. Thank you so much.
Great to see you as well.
So fast. So fast. 7. But I can't. Every coach, and I'm okay with it, but every coach in that yells at their players too. But they're so crude. I was really fascinated by in that clip with you and watching that speech. You're not. You are hard. And my favorite line. You focused on the word family a lot. I love. But I love how you said in this game you got to hit somebody.
Yes.
But you kept it clean.
It's the biggest crowd ever. Now we got a chance to do what we talked about. We talked about playing this game at a level that nobody in any league, anywhere has ever played this game. What's the word? What's the word? What's the word?
Michael Pinball Clemons.
Well, yeah, and we always try to treat our players with that level of respect, and we want to present ourselves in such a way that if they copy us, right, people will say, well done, yeah, good job. And so I didn't use profanity as a coach, and you know, as we went around 8 years, I swore twice.
Really?
Strombo, so good to see you, man.
See you, my friend.
Oh, that dude's crazy.
That dude's crazy. That dude is not the dude people think you are sometimes, but that's the football dude.
That is the dude, though. I'm passionate, love it. And hey, guys, how you doing? That was so kind. Good.
You know what's amazing? I love watching that NHL show 24/7.
We go out there today. We've been talking about playing at another level. We've been talking about being dominant. And you know why we've been dominant in the last few weeks? What's the word? What's the word? That you got to hit somebody in this game. That's why we've been dominant. Now, when we go out there today,